Hey, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and I'm going solo tonight. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Hope you had a great time with friends and family. Probably not as many friends and family as ordinarily, but 2020 is almost over. Let's just hope 2021 is a better year. All right. Couple of things. I am gonna prime the pump, as it were. I was scrolling through Facebook a little bit today, and I saw a couple of questions that a couple of people asked, and I'm going to give some answers, and I'm certainly hoping that we're going to have plenty of questions tonight for me. Because that's what Ask Dave Fennoy is all about. I know we bring on lots of guests, and probably from here on it'll be more guests than just me. But let's look at what I found today that I thought was interesting. This from Tom Freya. I'm 75 years old, narrated 82 audiobooks, and hold a PhD in hearing science. Allow an old man to give an opinion. Please avoid digital workstations or audio editors that are not suited for voiceover activity. Forget Studio One, Reaper, Pro Tools, Audacity, Ocean Audio, etc., and make your life focus on your craft, not your software hassles. If you insist on using Windows platform, use Audition. And if you're wise enough to use a Mac, use Twisted Wave. End of story. Use reasonable plugins available on both of these packages. Use Isotope and Waves for DS, voice denoise, declick, and I think that's all you need. The Isotope RX editor is very sexy, but why complicate your life? Find a decent recording environment and learn how to use the microphone to minimize pops, breaths, and sibilants. Have fun. Thank you for allowing this old dude to add his 2 cents. Well, a number of us, couple of friends of mine noted Bob Bergen clicked, yeah, go for it. I also agree with him. Does that mean that if you know how and you're into it, you shouldn't use a Pro Tools or any of the other software he talked about? No. I used Pro Tools for years, and the thing he was talking about was the number of bugs, and every time you change computers or upgrade on your computer, and it's very finicky. And at one point, I got a computer that was a Fusion drive, and it just did not want to play. So I started using Twisted Wave, which I had already downloaded, and now 99% of the time I'm using Twisted Wave. Now, you can't do everything with it, but you can do all things voiceover. You can record, you can edit, you can sweeten the tracks, but you don't have a whole lot of other things that you have to know to work with it. Now, of course, there were a number of people that said, oh, that's terrible, you're crazy and whatnot, but I'm thinking with the number of people who have to set up home studios now who don't have a technical background in sound, I think he makes a lot of sense. Make it simple, make it easy. Don't make it one other thing you have to think about. All right, let's see. All right, I'll say hello to some people. Janessa, Pamela, Thomas, and Isabel Tugman has a question. And, let me move you here where you can see it. What are your thoughts on signing with a manager? Well, it depends on who the manager is, but that said, I think it can be a wonderful thing. I've been with a manager for a long time as well as my agent, and it works out well. Generally, the difference between a manager and an agent is an agent will have several hundred clients, and a manager will have many fewer. I don't know exactly the number my manager has right now, but maybe in the neighborhood of 30, if that many. And that means she and her staff have more time to concentrate on me, on my career. They can do more promotion for you than your agent can or will do. So, good manager, good idea. Now, if it's somebody who's telling you you have to pay them up front, no. But good managers worth a lot. And when they increase your business, what's the harm? All right. Alex Wood. I miss Solo Day. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Good advice there. SoundForge is good too. Lonnie Manella, who at one day I hope to get on here. Lonnie is a great talent and also director of video games and cartoons. Charity James. Hi, Dave. Hiya. Jeff Brown, one of the funniest people on the planet. How you doing, Jeff? What's going on? I'm looking through here for good questions. What is the mini fewer you are talking about? What is the mini fewer? What did I say that I said mini fewer? Many fewer problems, many fewer headaches, many fewer things to learn. I think that's what I meant. I think that's what I was saying. That when you're brand new to voiceover and doing the voiceover and setting up a studio and buying that mic and getting your booth together or the place where you record and make sure that it's treated so it sounds good when you record, the last thing in the world you need are more things that are more difficult for you to learn and master if you can do the same thing for less. If looking at Pro Tools, wonderful program. It is the standard of the industry. But it's about this much, and you only need about this much. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. Michael Glover, what have you got to say here? On NDAs, I just print the pages I need to sign them, and scan them as a PDF, rename the file the same as the audition, then attach that PDF with the MP3 audition to send to my agent. Is this correct? If that's too much crap, never mind. No, we're getting a lot of PDFs, non-disclosure that we have to sign, or NDAs, non-disclosure agreement, and especially video games and cartoons, often now with commercials, and they won't even listen to your audition unless you have signed the PDF. So, absolutely, you want to get that thing signed and sent in. You're doing it correctly, except you can skip a step. You said you print it out. You don't have to print it out. They're usually a PDF. If it's not a PDF, you can turn it into a PDF. And then you can use the program, the PDF program. You just click on the top there, markup, and you can create signatures for yourself that you can drag onto it, and you can click for text and type in what you need to type, and then send the thing without ever having to print anything. Save a tree and save yourself a whole lot of money in ink. Another thing I do is all my scripts I never print them. They all live digitally. And now when you think about it, I've been doing this for about 30 years. I've been printing scripts now not printing scripts probably for about 10. And what got me to start not printing them was how much ink and paper I was buying all the time. Save yourself the hassle, the money, save the economy, or save the ecology, save the trees, and let it all live in the digital world. And also makes it easier for you to save. Now you don't have to print it, sign it, and then rescan it. All right. Hope that helps. Dan O'Leary, what have you got? Let's see. Lonnie Manelli has something. When you get an audition asking you to slate your equipment at the end of the take, do you include mic and preamp? What if you have more than one choice? This is also a very now and good question, Lonnie. More and more because of COVID-19, and we're not going out to as many studios, and unfortunately, we're in the middle of the second wave they're saying another wave going to be on top of that. So don't be surprised if it's another 6 months after enough people are vaccinated before we're heading back into other people's studios. So what they want to know is to hire you is your studio going to sound good? So yes, you do want to let them know what microphone you're using. And I am often asked within that question, what preamp do you have? Often that question also includes, what is your recording environment? Are you in a whisper room or a studio bricks or a closet? Or sometimes they want a sample of what your studio sounds like. So the best thing to do, I would say, is put together a page of all the information about your studio. If you have choices of microphones, I do. I'll put several choices of microphones that they can have, and I let them know what my preamps are and what my input, what my connection is, my Apollo quad, and that's it. Make it easy though. Write it up, print it out, or not print it out, but write it up and keep it on your computer so you can send it out when they're asking for it. Okay. Dan O'Leary, Letty. Hey Dave, everyone mentions compression. I've looked on YouTube to try to see a before and after example. Nothing. What does it sound like on Twisted Wave? How can I do it? Thanks. Compression is a way to make the sound a little fatter, but too much compression makes it breathe. Gives it that DJ sound when it's all just breathing in and out, and it kind of takes some of the naturalness out of your voice. Now, compression is a wonderful thing, but it's horrible if it's overused. You can get it. What was the rest of that question? How can I get it in Twisted Wave? Yeah. Depending on what computer you have, you have effects. So you pull up Twisted Wave and you click on the effects and you see what effects you have. They don't have to be the Twisted Wave effects. If you're on a Mac, you have the Apple effects. And Apple has a nice little vocal compressor in there that you can use. You don't need that much. I have compression on my Avalon 737, but it's just a touch. It's just a touch. You just want enough that it kind of gives you a little more presence, but you still want that air and still a natural sound. So that's what you do with a compressor. And I wouldn't be surprised if you already had compression in your computer there that you just don't know about. Once again, if you're on a Mac, you've got compression already. Okay. Jay, Horace, Black. Hey, Dave, I hope your family had a great Thanksgiving. We did. Speaking of plugins, do you use any in your mic chain with the UA Apollo Twin? Well, I have the Apollo Quad, but yes, I do. I just mentioned I've got the Avalon 737. I also have a Manley Vox box and a couple other plugins that from time to time I use, but usually about 90% of the time it's that Avalon 737. Okay, and oh wow. Well, let me say hello to a first-timer. Woohoo! He's Dave, Ask Dave Fennoy, Anything Virgin. Hamilton Newton, VO, great information. This is my first time tuning in. Hello, Mr. Fennoy. Hello, Mr. Newton. And let's see, who else is here? Hi, Julius. Jimmy Bancotle. So be suspicious of managers who are charging 3 figures per month for 12 months, even though they come highly recommended in the industry. My question would be, who is recommending them highly if they're charging you X amount of dollars per month? Now, they're going to get a percentage of what you make. That's par for the course. But if it's a monthly fee, whether they're getting you work or not, say bye-bye. Let's see. All right. Jay, Horace, Black. Yes, I'm signing a lot of NDAs. I use Notability to sign docs, then email them back within minutes. Absolutely. And there's a number of things. I notice sometimes now my agents will send DocuSign documents. So Instead of having a contract and you're in PDF form and you're signing it and so forth, they have a DocuSign document, and you can either use a pre-existing signature that you've created or a phony one, and they'll still take that phony one, and away you go. All right. Thomas Machin. It's becoming more important to be able to speak additional languages other than English. Is it becoming more important to speak other languages than English for VO? I wouldn't say if you're not bilingual or trilingual or quadrilingual, if you're not speaking more than one language, I don't think you should feel like you have to learn another language to stay in the game. I think learning another language is a great idea. Of course, most of us, we being Americans, it's against our religion. Everybody's supposed to learn English, and not just English, American English. So, doggone it, it's America, doggone it. But no, I wouldn't learn another language to keep working. I tell you what I would do, it would be to learn as many accents as I can. Learn another language, but do it just because you want to know another language. Chances are, wait a minute, I'll get back to you, John Sims. Chances are, as an American learning another language, Spanish, French, German, whatever it is, chances are you're not going to be hired to voice spots in that language because your familiarity with it, your fluency in it, with it is probably not going to be up to par. Does that mean there aren't going to be some people who speak multiple languages that can't, or English speakers, American English speakers? Well, there are a number of Americans who speak several languages fluently or other languages fluently. And yeah, for them, they probably can do some work in some other languages. But typically, we're looking at our Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters who are much more bilingual than we English speakers are. Now, John Simmons, as someone who is new and still learning VO, and guess what, John? I don't care how long you're in it, you're going to still be learning stuff. I've been in it for more than 30 years. I'm still learning stuff. As a good starter mic, what do you recommend? I currently have two mics. One is a Blue Spark XLR, and the other is an Audio-Technica AT2020. Are these good for start? Yeah, both of those are okay mics to start out with. Nicely done. I was so afraid you were going to say you had like a Blue Yeti, which I have seen people proudly display in their equipment package, and I just rolled my eyes. But you're doing okay. That Blue Spark. Blue makes some great microphones, but you got to start about where that spark is and go on up. All right, Michael Glover again. Helps a great deal. Old school's just trying to adjust. You have been doing it a lot longer, and I appreciate your prudence. Oh, well, thank you, Michael Glover. Actually, and I'm just giving you a tip, not that I think you have to do that. We're talking about printing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and other things, contracts. No need to print them and sign them and then scan them again. They can stay in the digital world. All right. Micah, B-side. I produce audio as well as do VO. Should I make that gear list essentially the same? When you say make that gear list essentially the same, Micah, give me a little more detail on exactly what your question is. When you say your gear list, are you talking about for producing music? Do you need that gear list? So that might include your keyboard, your guitars, so forth and so on. That's a good question. Not being a person that's producing music for money, I'm not sure if people are going to be asking you that. I think they might just want to hear your music, but that one I'm not really qualified to answer. Less is more with compression. Yes, it is. All right. Just hitting you again. If you use tube amps, they do it for you. Okay. All right. Well, there's a joke in there someplace, but I'm going to leave it alone. Earl Glover. Are you related to Michael? What kind of preamp is best to use, and do I need a processor? I don't think you need a processor, and there are a number of really good preamps. You can start with the Focusrite. They have a couple models on the beginning end that are just very good for the money. They're right in the $150 to $250 range, and they're great little preamps. I right now am using an Avalon 737 plug-in. I had an Avalon 737, the equipment itself, which I have sold because the plug-in does the exact same thing for a lot less money. I have a problem with clutter around here, so it got rid of one thing that was cluttering up the world. And if you've got that 737, that's great. But there are a number of other great channel strips that you could get to do the job. What I would suggest would be a Google search of 737 and others like it. And that would help you out a lot. All right. TJ Miller, what's going on, man? Hey, Dave, I keep hearing the best way to record is dry with no effects. Bounce it down, then bring it back and put the effects on later. Do you agree? Well, it depends. In voiceover in the industry now, most people want what we call dry tracks. They don't want you to do any effects on those tracks. They don't want you to sweeten it because they're going to sweeten it. So just a little bit of compression. What I say is enough compression that they don't notice it. You notice it, but they don't notice it. So it still sounds very, very natural. And one of the complaints from people in this business on the other end, when they get your auditions, when they get your tracks that you have recorded at home for a job, they want to do the processing. They want to mix that. So don't do that for them. If you're putting on too much compression or too much of anything else, it makes their job harder. So the best way is with as little as possible. Okay. Kayla, how you doing? Hey, Dave, been missing you. Aw, that's sweet. Hope you're well and warm. It's cold here in Nashville already. And get ready for the snow. Apparently, it's going to be cold and snowy. My hometown in Cleveland is buried, I think, in 2 feet of snow now. So, not that this is a weather report, but just saying. Going to be cold in Florida, too, I heard. Okay. Renee Tabor, speaking of accents, how do you figure out how to pronounce foreign names and get them right? Oh, that's a good one. I always, when the Olympics are happening, I always feel bad for the sports announcers because it's almost like you have to have a book of pronunciations. The internet is your friend for this. You can find out how to pronounce just about any name. You find it on the internet, you highlight it, you put it in Pronounce Guide, and somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to tell you how to pronounce it. If you're not in a Pronounce Guide, if it's a famous person, you can find interviews with them or ask how to pronounce their name, and it'll take you to an interview where that name is pronounced. Sometimes it takes a couple of videos for you to find it, but it's there. The internet is so our friend. Just about anything you want to learn how to do, learn how to pronounce, it is there. So use that internet. And it's funny sometimes people will send me questions about voiceover, and all too often they're questions that I'm a little annoyed to have to answer because all they had to do was type it in and there would have been millions and millions of answers. So there's a lot of things we talk about in voiceover that aren't on the internet, but some things just too easy. Okay. And now I'm just looking for longer paragraphs. Hey, Mr. Fennoy, Jonathan Theobald. There you go. First time question, and thank you for doing your questionnaire. Do you have or would you suggest any resources for DIY demos on a budget? Thank you again. I'm sorry. Swoop, whoop, whoop, whoop. Danger, Jonathan Theobald. Danger, Jonathan Theobald. No. Do not, Jonathan, do your own demo. Think about it. You're just getting into this thing. You're at the point you're ready to do your demos. Do you know how to mix the music and your voice together? Do you know how to find the music? Do you know what commercials you should put on there? Or depending on the demo, I'm assuming it's a commercial demo. Do you know how to conceive of the thing? The people who do demos, they've been doing this for a while. Now, there's a lot of demo producers out there that maybe aren't that good. But if your demo isn't right, if it doesn't display not only your talent, but sound like something they might have heard on the radio, on television, in a video game, in a cartoon, if it doesn't meet that, something's wrong they're hearing. They might not know what it is, and usually in that case, it's the production. It's a much bigger deal than just putting the right commercials with the right music with your voice. It's much more than that. It's worth the money you're going to spend. I understand. It costs a lot. You're looking at, $1,500 on the low end to about $3,500 on the high end, and typically about between $2,000 and $2,500 is the sweet spot. I understand that's a lot of money, but it's worth it. Don't make the mistake of making your own demo, maybe getting a friend that has a studio or a guy that produces music. They don't know. They may be able to produce music, but they don't know about producing demos for commercials and video games and animation and narration. They don't know, and TV promos. They don't know. Go to somebody who does it all the time. All right. Did I make that clear enough? All right, John Simmons. When it comes to accents, I've been learning how to speak in a British accent, actually. But you might be doing the Russian. I see they're Icelandic. LOL. What do you think the one or ones to learn? Well, the British is around a lot, but there's so many accents out there. And what I've noticed in my work that you see Australian, you see British, you see French, you see Spanish, you see German, you see Indian, you see various African accents, you see various accents from the Caribbean, various Asian accents. As the world has gotten smaller, the demand for a variety of accents from people around the world has only grown. So I can't give you, several accents. Oh, yeah, people are always working in these accents. The ones that you do well, those are the ones that you should do. And yes, you can continue to grow your list of accents that you do well, but I cannot just go, oh, well, you're going to do more of these and more of these and more of these. Do the ones that appeal to you, that you have an affinity for, and go forth and sin no more. Okay. Lonnie. Oh, when auditioning, I use average normalization, not compression, but not when delivering files for a session. Now, a lot of people won't know necessarily what normalization is. Normalization is taking whatever the level you recorded at. There's a range of level that you can record at that's acceptable to record in. But where we typically hear music or hear the voice is -3 dB. That's just about perfect. It's loud enough, but not too quiet. If you've recorded, say, -6 dB, -12 dB, you need to normalize up to negative 3 dB. If you're bouncing around about at 0, if it's not going into the red or flatlining and being destructive and distorted, then you normalize down to negative 3 dB. And that will be the sweet spot. And compression is a whole other thing. Normalization doesn't change the sound. It just makes everything louder based on the peak level. So if the highest thing is at negative 6 dB and you normalize to negative 3 dB, everything goes up a little bit. All right. Oh, good one. Thomas, have you ever used 2-mic recording? Not in my studio, but I have used it quite a bit working on video games in other studios in town, so-called professional studios. One of the things they do to save time is to have, say, a TLM 103 or a U87 that's, that 6 to 8 inches away that most of your dialogue is going into. And then further back, pointing at you, will be a 416 that's picking up all the shouting and screaming. And they're recording everything at the same time so they don't have to stop every time. And, let me adjust that. Oh, here comes the loud thing. And that way they get it all, save themselves some time and headaches. Okay. Steve Bailey. He didn't have a question. I just like Steve Bailey, so I thought I'd say, hey, Steve, how you doing? Good to know you're there, man. Let's see. Micah B-side. I record demos for others, yet will not record my own. Micah, that is brilliant. I won't do my own either. One of the things as an artist, as a voice actor, as an actor, we often don't have, we can't look at ourselves and just see how the world sees us. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we think we're just too wonderful. You always need somebody else to ground you, somebody else to help you find the sweet spot. Think of the number of times you've been editing something and, but I love that little thing. I want to keep that in. I love when my voice does that. I want to keep that in. That person that's not you realizes that they can't miss what they have never heard. You miss it, but they don't. And sometimes time is of the essence. And what you really need to do, you've given them what you need in that 6 or 7 seconds, and that other 4 or 5 seconds isn't needed. But it's hard for us to be objective about ourselves. So always, always, always have somebody else produce your demos. Now, you're going to partner with them. Don't just turn everything over to them. But they're the ones that you should let edit, cut out what needs to be cut out, because you'll keep trying to keep things in and make it too long, and then it's not working for you. I don't know why nobody likes my demo. They don't want to listen to 5 minutes of demo. Thomas Machen, for demos, ask the experts first and find out if you are even ready for a demo. Bing, ding, 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 ding. The bell goes off. With your coaches, coaches, a private group sessions with Dave could be your first step to be ready. Thank you, Thomas. A private session with me, sure. I'm happy to do that. People send me demos all the time, and it's surprising how bad so many of them are. Now, the good ones, the ones that I can go, hey, wow, great, yeah, send it to your agent. Oh, really, bravo. They're always done by somebody I know, or somebody who, if I look them up, oh, yeah, it's done lots of demos for lots of people. I don't know everybody in the business. I know a lot of people. And the ones that typically just aren't working for me are ones that either they did themselves or they had a buddy who's not in the business but has a studio and a microphone and some music and has, written a couple of songs. It's always a situation like that. So please, please, please don't spend that, $500, $1,000 on a demo that's not going to work for you, save up the money. Find somebody who really does them. Chuck, J. Michael, Jordan Reynolds. There are a few other people out there. But find somebody who knows what they're doing. If you're doing a video game demo, you can come to me, but I got to work with you first. Oh, my first agent. I love her still, Joan Spangler. Thank you for such good advice about making a demo. I'm not reading these before I click on them. I can tell immediately if a demo is homemade, and so can anyone you want to work with or for. And let me give you another piece of advice about demos. Your demo has to be better than mine. Because I've got a reputation, I'm auditioning well, I'm a known entity in the business. People aren't typically trying to make a decision on me based on my demo. It's the audition, or they've worked with me before. But when you're new, you want that demo for two reasons. One, to get an agent. And two, so that maybe people will hire you off of that demo or audition you because of your demo. And if there's something wrong with it, if the sound's not quite right, if where your voice is placed in the demo, if it's too far in front, if it's not out present enough, if the music is wrong, if it sounds too old. And when I say too old, I'm not talking about your voice. I'm talking about the material on it. There's a reason you have to update your demos from time to time. It's because society moves on, and the things that are being sold now aren't the things that were sold 5 years ago. I mean, if you've got a demo and you're talking about great VHS tapes, you know what I mean. All right. Thank you, Joan Spangler, and I'm going to get you on. And I've told the story before. I'll tell it briefly again. I had put together a demo when I first wanted to get into voiceover. It was about 5 minutes long. I sent it to Joan Spangler, and I just knew I was wonderful. She was going to be calling me back. Oh, hi, Dave Fennoy. Oh, we need to get you. And a couple of weeks went by. I called her receptionist. Oh, yes, we've got your demo. We'll be calling you, Mrs. Spangler. Miss Spangler will be calling you, sometime. I wanted to think she said soon, but I don't think she did. And it was about 2 months, maybe more, before when I called again. And she said, oh, yes, Miss Spangler would be happy to meet with you next week on such and such a day, such and such a time. I lived in Berkeley, so I don't remember if I drove over or took BART, but went over, found her office, was in the waiting room for a little bit, went in, she played a bit of my demo, and she said, look, you're really talented. But your demo is not good. It's too long. It's filled with too much retail stuff. Go redo it and come back and see me in 6 months. And it's one of the best lessons I ever had. And I know she did it because she wanted to see how serious I was. There are a lot of people that somebody told them somewhere along the way, hey, you got a nice voice. You should do voiceover. And they heard the stories of Don LaFontaine and how much money he made, or something else. It seemed, the lazy man's way to riches. Voiceover, all you got to do is talk. And it's so much more. I've run into people. I had a friend of mine in radio who every year, she would, coming along about August, she'd say, oh, yeah, Dave, help me put together a little demo so I can get some of that Christmas money for voiceover. And every year I tell her, look, that's not how you approach this. This is something you really have to give 100% to if you're going to be successful at it. So, enough of that. Bonjour, Luc. Ça va? Luc de Villars. If I tell you the names, Laurent Jovin, Migrant Sound Studio LA, does it ring a bell? Yeah. With the VO team, we've had a little virtual meeting with Laurent, and we've heard some amazing stories about voice work in the late 90s and the work with you. Well, that's nice to hear. I'm not sure in which jobs they might be talking about, but yeah, I was definitely around in the late 90s. And that was a good time back then, girl, dang it. J. Horace Black, question number 2. You mentioned that you use Avalon 737 with minimum adjustments. I got the Avalon 737 to go along with my UA Audio Twin Duo because they practically were giving 60% off the past week. Oh, yeah. It's the after Black Friday sale and the Black Monday sale or Cyber Monday sale. What are the specific settings that you... Oops, I lost it again. Let's get you back. What are the specific settings that you have yours set to? Or is there a source where I can find how to set this up? There are some sources for you to find how to set it up. I don't do a lot with it. I don't adjust it very much. I don't use the EQ at all. Some people need to use an EQ on their voice. I don't feel like I need to. The thing I use most is just a little bit of compression. And I set that compression about a ratio of 1 to 2.5. All right. Van Roseburg, any thoughts on using the Backstage site to audition for VO work? I don't use Backstage for that, but I have seen that there are auditions sometimes for commercials and video games and cartoons there. I don't know about narration, but yeah, if you have a subscription, go for it. You may find some things there. Theodore, what are some vocal exercises you do to prepare for an audition or gig? Well, I'm a little bit ashamed to say I don't do a lot of them. Generally, it's just breathing, opening my mouth, and doing some mouth exercises so that all the mandible and tongue, all that stuff works together. If my voice is getting a little raunchy, I will yawn. The more important things I think I do, I drink a lot of water. When my voice is getting a little hacked up, and actually I do this every day anyway, is tea with lots of natural honey, unpasteurized honey, and lemon. As a matter of fact, the tea doesn't even have to have the tea. All it really needs is the hot water, the lemon, and the honey. And I find that helps my throat a lot. And if I've had a particularly long and loud day, shutting up, just... in the evening times, just, I'm not talking. So I'll be at home going, yeah, okay, yep, right, no, yeah, okay. Let's see. Jack Sage, hi Dave. Sorry if this is a big question, but who would you say are the best coaches are in each? Who would I say the best coaches are in each genre? There's some really good ones in all of them. I've had a lot of them on, and I almost don't want to say because I'm going to leave somebody out that I shouldn't leave out, and then I will hurt their feelings. But if you go back and look at the people I have had on, you will see some good coaches in both TV promo, commercial, narration, and video games. So just some of the people I've had on, including myself. Those are some of the people that I would look to. All right. Miss Janet Peters, ladies and gentlemen. I never think I am wonderful, but wouldn't it be a wonderful thing to have the confidence we all need to voice a wonderful script? Just saying. I hit it every now and then. I can't believe how much I love doing this. I love it. Love you too, Dave. Oh, that's so sweet. Janet, because I have heard your work. You have an amazing instrument, and the things that I've heard you do are wonderful. Just live in the confidence that you have a thing that is worthwhile, that is valuable. It's a great read. Just keep doing that, and the world will keep knocking on your door. Bianca Skinner, let's see. Hi, D, long time, glad to be back. Well, welcome back, Bianca. And just a little something here from Micah B side. Coach first, absolutely. Don't try to do this without learning how to do this. Nadia Ahern, I would never do dental work on myself. Go to a demo specialist and get your demo done. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to also make relationships with those producers and engineers. Very good point. You never know where a recommendation will come from for a gig. That is a very good point. And once again, one of the best things about this voiceover community are the people in the community. In life in general, people are your best resource. You may think of companies or ad agencies or talent agencies, but what are they made up of? People. And your relationships with those people and how you show up for those people and with those people is going to make a big difference in your career. If you're not meeting people who can recognize your talent and be a cheerleader for you, recommend you, if you're just at home trying to do it by yourself, you're missing out on a whole lot. We all need in this business because it is such a solitary business. We're at home in our studios, our wives and husbands and boyfriends and girlfriends and moms and dads and sisters and brothers, cousins and whatnot. They may not really have an understanding of what it is you do. They may know that, okay, you record your voice and send it out on stuff. But everything else that goes along with it, the psychological part of it, the amount of rejection that we're going through or that you might feel, because it's not actually rejection, it's selection. You are either being selected or not. And when you're not selected, there are a whole bunch of other people not selected too. And as long as you're turning in great auditions, sooner or later, you're going to be selected. And the more you keep doing that, the more you're going to be selected. But to get to that point, you need training. Sometimes just to know, oh, I am on the right path. And sometimes to know, oh, no, this is what you're doing wrong. You've got some really good stuff here. If you just change this a little bit, adjust this a little bit, now we're going down the right track. So, get that demo done by somebody who knows what they're doing because they are also tuned into the industry and can sometimes, like Nadia said, recommend you. All right. Walter Williams, this is your first time up today, man. You usually have 2 or 3 questions by now. Question from the VO from Oz. It's holiday season. Do you take mobile recording gear with you on vacation? If so, what's your gear list? Well, Walter, I used to take recording gear with me on my vacation, but not traveling anywhere just at the moment. By this time, the last few years, I would have been overseas a couple of times in a bunch of different cities, either for conventions to meet fans or teaching. But this year, not so much. But my travel gear, that's what you really want to know. I typically use an Apogee little mic here. I've got one right here. A little Apogee mic. I use a Chaotica eyeball that I drop down on it. And I will carry with me my iPad and laptop. And that's it. That is it. And before the Chaotica eyeball, I would do the pillow forts. I had a Portabooth Pro for a while, but it was annoying because I would always have to check it, and it was another $25 to check. It's like, because it was so big. The Chaotica eyeball fits right in my suitcase. It can scrunch up, and when you pull it out, boop, it pops right back, and you're ready to go. So hope that helps. I know of a number of people who like their 416 to go with them, and I have when I switched over to Apollo, the UA, the first one I got was a twin, and decided that I needed more than what it was, so I got the quad, and I still have that twin, and if and when we ever travel again, I may try that with my 416. Now, the problem with that is they don't make a Chaotica eyeball for the 416, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you, if and when we ever travel again, and I do that, I'll let you know. Let's see. Alma Duvergel. I love the Walking Dead game because of you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you had another one. If you had a superpower, what would it be? You know what? That's one of those questions. Would I want, would I want to be invisible? Would I want to be able to fly? Would I want to be able to disappear? I just never can figure it out. All right, Trakina White. Hey, Dave, happy holidays. Are you a promo coach as well? I am. I do teach pro. Most people know me for video games because when I decided to take teaching seriously, I said, well, let me put forward a niche that most people aren't in. And at the time that I started teaching voice acting for video games, nobody else was doing it. Now we have a number of people that are doing it. But yeah, I teach TV promos. I teach narration. I teach the basics of approaching copy, or as I say, take the words off the page, translate the written word into the spoken word, all kinds of things to try to get it through your head what we're doing. Anyway, settle down, Dave. Calm down. All right, Janet Peters, once again, one glass of wine and my voice is like a frog in the AM. Ugh. Takes 3 days to get rid of it. A mini martini, no froggy throat in the AM. LO. Just saying. Our voices are our instruments. We must take care of them. Right, Dave? It's our money. Absolutely. And you have to find what works for you. Some things, I know people who smoke, and it works for them. I know other people who try to smoke, and it just really doesn't work for them at all. You have to find what works for you. Typically, I would say not smoking is a better thing than smoking. Drinking lots of water. Keep your voice hydrated. The less screaming you do, the better. All right. Dan O'Leary back again. For documentary narrations, like a wildfire film, for example, are you ever provided the video to get the sense of the vibe of a particular scene or a show as a whole? You used to all the time because you used to go to a studio and you would be reading to picture. I remember some years ago, a company flying me out to D.C., to Washington, D.C., to narrate something so I could watch it on the big screen as I read. But not so much anymore. We have so many home studios now, and they may show you some film, but chances are you won't be reading to film. So what they give you are timings and probably some information about what the subject matter is and what the tone is. All right, Theodore, finally have a reason to build a pillow fort as an adult. Oh, there's always a reason to build a pillow fort. Let's play. Woohoo! Darley Adam Neves, I'm thinking about getting a 416. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. Thomas again. Now you have the geek in me curious. Why did you jump to the quad? Well, you actually get more DSP power, and I wanted to be able to plug more things in if I needed to or wanted to. Okay, and Carolyn Zinn Myers, what's the eyeball? I have a terrible sound recording. I had terrible sound recording some narrations with the Apogee and iPad. I can't set up the proper booth where I am. Any other ideas for making a decent recording without having a closet? Thanks. The eyeball, let me see if I have one close by. Oh, I don't. I loaned that one to a friend, and the other one is someplace up. Yeah, I keep my eyeball in a suitcase because that's the only time I use it, and I had another one. I think I gave it to somebody. But an eyeball, the Chaotica eyeball, is a round ball of foam, and it has a hole in the bottom that you stick your mic into. And wait a minute, we aren't talking about the Chaotic eyeball. Okay. And it has a big round opening in front that a little screen goes on. And you're speaking into that screen, so your mic is here. Your mic is inside the eyeball, and it's right there, and you're speaking into it, and it keeps all the sound bounce out. And I wasn't a fan at first when I first tried to use it. But I have become a fan because when I first started, I was doing it wrong. I thought I had to be too close. But once you're going to be about the same distance away from the mic as you ordinarily would. And they work pretty well. Some people tell me there's a little difference in sound, but I can't hear it. And I have worked around the world with that Chaotica eyeball, doing auditions and even jobs that no one said anything about the recording from it. So Chaotica eyeball, they're about $200, which I always think it's more than you should pay for a ball of foam, but it works. It works. Reminds me of the story of the guy fixing television that called him in, and lady said, "Can you fix the television?" He looked at it a minute and he hit his hand on the television and it came right back. And she said, "And you want $100 for that? Just to hit the television and make it work? I could have done that." She says, "Well, you're not paying me for the hit. You're paying me for knowing where to hit." Yeah, okay. Tommy C. For those of us who have agents, how do we convince them to submit us for things outside the box? I'm lucky that my voice is malleable, but I get more work from my money voice than anything else. I just want to expand. Okay, I'm going to say two things, Tommy. One, if you've got a money voice that you're working with all the time, count your blessings. Count your blessings. Most people would love to be in that position. And to answer your actual question, let your agent know what you want to do. And then give her some samples of you doing those kinds of things, which means probably asking for auditions in the areas, the genres that you want to work in, and maybe spending the money to get a demo produced in those areas. But communicate with your agent. Let them know what it is you want to do and why. And, they're on your side. I guarantee you they want you to work more, no matter how much you're working, because they don't get paid till you get paid. All right, Michael Sessoms, congrats on the recent Barbie Princess and RWPY gigs. Oh, thank you. I forgot about that Barbie Princess thing. Janet again. Just got an Apollo interface plus Manly box, VoxBox, and a few wonderful plugins. Thanks to Tim Tippett, I am now broadcast quality. Yay. Can you tell I've been locked up too long in the house? Yes, I'm having mini martini. So what? It's well-deserved. This is a wonderful business. Love when, get the emails. I think she meant that I have been hired. Okay, enough about me. Well, missed the last little bit of it. Okay, I'm just listening now. I think those martinis have been doing their job. Let's see, Walter right again. Sorry, Dave, I forgot you guys and gals in the United States are still in lockdown. In Australia, down under, the borders are open. Life is good despite World War C. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Which, thank you, Walter, because it's a reminder that we could be out of lockdown and not having to wear masks and having our normal lives if somebody named President had taken this seriously and actually led the country. But, just remember one thing I do to practice narrations. On YouTube, I'll watch with the sound off and closed captions on. Works great. Yeah, that actually sounds good. I like that. We're getting down to the end of it here. Hey, Deb Sommerfeld. Just got home from an appointment, wanted to pop in and wanted to say hello to you, Dave. Well, there you go. Well, hello, Deb. And let's see if there are any more questions. I think we're just about done. One more. Was it fun to work on the mom set? How do they handle the COVID restrictions? Oh, you saw that. That's a rerun. That was done long before, and we did it on the set, but that was 2 years ago, long before anybody ever thought of COVID. Well, with that, I guess I am going to say goodbye. Next week, I do have a guest. It's Barbie, Chris Anthony Lansdowne, who was the voice of Barbie for a decade at least on toys, games, lots of other things. She's just delightful, and you're going to enjoy her and learn a lot. And until then, take care. If you are interested in getting some voiceover lessons from me, let's see. No, I need that finger going there and up, Oh, anyway, you can see it over there, because it's backwards with me. So ask Dave Fennoy anything, davefennoy.com. Just click on it, and you can sign up for lessons if you like. And if you'd like to relive this or any of the Ask Dave Fennoy's anythings, go to my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. And like I always say to people trying to get into business, listen to as much as you can for free before you start spending your money. A couple of reasons why. One, you begin to learn the jargon. You begin to get more of a sense of what whoever it is teaching you is talking about. So my site, other people's YouTube sites, take it all in and then take lessons. And so anyway, look forward to next week. Hope you have a wonderful week and go book something. See ya.